have banded together to mount a rogue offensive aimed at defeating the sitting president of their own party. They call themselves the Lincoln Project, named for the party of Lincoln.
Unexpectedly, the hitherto robust and unshakable President Trump was reportedly spotted crying. Prior to this, he saw an advertisement for the Lincoln Project parody. Even the man with the unusual haircut, who gave off the impression of being tough, couldn't stop crying. The commercial that had a profound impact on Trump has garnered attention due to the situation.
Said, I need a corrupt man who is above the law and immune from justice. So God made a dictator. God said, I need a man who will use violence to seize power. So God made a dictator.
The Lincoln Project has been making fun of Trump with their comedic films for a while now. The most recent video focuses on the turbulent situation during the MAGA supporters' assault on the city, which is the subject of their most recent video. Comedy is used in this new movie to highlight the significance of the events that day, as well as how absurd they were. The Lincoln Project continues to spoof and critique Trump's actions while making political remarks and amusing its audience. Someone who had failed at everything but lying and making empty promises was the person God was looking for, if there was one. This man would live a lavish lifestyle and persuade others in need that he was their savior. Trump is that kind of person.
And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
The film shows instances where Trump mispronounces phrases or says odd things, highlighting the ways in which he contradicts himself and makes bizarre assertions.
Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
When someone like Trump gets the chance to run for president again, it's difficult to believe that this movie isn't based on a news article or motion picture. Despite their seeming fictitious nature, the uncertainty and drama of that day are all too real. Let's bring back America's glory. In fact, witnessing such events in a nation that takes such pride in its democracy and stability is disconcerting and contradictory. The fact that such events can occur here, and that someone like Trump can still win the presidency, says a lot about the current status of our democratic system. It raises questions about what lies ahead and whether the country can survive these difficult times.
It's the storming of the Capitol. Trump supporters forcing their way into the halls of Congress. The remarkable scenes unfolding on live TV.
I can see at least half a dozen protesters scaling, literally climbing the walls of the Capitol.
The Lincoln Project is now understood to be a symbol of democracy's struggle to uphold fundamental liberties and rights. The battle against Trumpism is just getting started. Operating out of a command center outside of Washington, D.C., the Lincoln Project is headed by veteran Republican operatives Rick Wilson and Steve Schmidt. The group has begun a furious campaign against Trump, employing the same aggressive tactics, such as impactful commercials, that they have previously used against Democrats. One with remorse. What makes this commercial so popular is the terrifying scenario in which comedian David Cross attacks Trump for his bigotry, misogyny, narcissism, and falling in love with Nazis. Watchers are left speechless as chaos and disaster ensue. A voice forever bemoans its agony and expresses how regrettable it is to have ever voted for Trump. You're left stunned and feeling shivers by the picture, which appears as though the sky, you'll see things that amaze you.
I'm starting to regret my vote for Trump.
The nation is in jeopardy due to Trump's polarizing and destructive demeanor. Other advertisements seek to directly provoke the president. For instance, one ad highlights Trump's infamous June event in Tulsa by using adjectives like depressing, feeble, and lacking vigor. The ad exposes the flaws in Trump's conduct, while also casting doubt on his entire leadership. It's a damning critique of the president. Perhaps there was a poignant element in this authentic depiction that brought Trump to tears.
And can't deliver. Sad, weak, low energy. Just like your presidency. Just like you.
Now, an increasing number of people who once supported Trump are coming around to reject him. It is now Trump's turn to face criticism, according to one critic, after he insulted nearly everyone throughout the previous 4 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
No, Donald, you're wrong. They are heroes because they were captured.
When Trump answered with his typical Twitter response, the creators of the Lincoln Project realized they had touched a chord. Predictably, in spite of tirades and media eruptions calling their group the Losers Project. These astute political analysts considered themselves to be authorities on Trump, meticulously forecasting his errors and gathering an abundance of information to expose at the appropriate time. A recent Lincoln Project ad, titled P, skillfully contrasted Trump's disparaging remarks about members of the armed services with pictures of honorable military service. A group of former Republican strategists turned anti-Trump activists called the Lincoln Project has been making waves in the political scene with their potent social media and advertising efforts. One of their ads, Honor Their Sacrifice, was released right before The Atlantic published Trump's purported remarks about slain soldiers. The Lincoln Project swiftly reacted to the public outcry over the study by urging its followers on Twitter to post pictures of real heroes, along with the hashtag #WearShame. Their goal was to show Trump what true bravery looks like. Veterans and their families were among the many individuals who answered the call, and many of them shared touching anecdotes and photos of loved ones who had served in the armed forces. The hashtag swiftly rose to the top of the platform's image-sharing popularity. September. When people on Twitter questioned them about their harsh language and strategies, it turned political. Wilson, the Florida strategist, didn't seem to give a damn, saying that they were only reacting to Trump's past remarks disparaging wealthy individuals with disabilities, and that he wasn't running for president. Steve Schmidt, a prominent Trump critic and seasoned political strategist, made everyone aware of this history on MSNBC. The Lincoln Project will continue to challenge Trump and his allies. The advertising refers to parasite targets. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina claims that Trump is a political parasite who has lost sight of his constituents. In the advertisement, Graham first backs Trump, then contradicts himself to demonstrate how his views have evolved on a number of issues. According to the Lincoln Project, they are fighting for the survival of the Republican Party and the nation, because they believe that Trump constitutes a threat to democracy and needs to be stopped in the next election. Time will tell if their efforts are fruitful, but they have undoubtedly had a significant impact on politics. Some people find the group's tactics to be quite divisive and hostile. Graham had long been a devoted supporter of President Trump, but after witnessing the animals, he started to wonder if he was just blindly following Trump's ideas without thinking through the consequences. The narrator continued to make fun of him, casting doubt on his morality and choosing to ignore Trump's wrongdoing and dishonesty. Graham was sitting in front of his TV, staring at what he saw with both disgust and awe. Graham felt sick to his stomach, wondering whether he might have been mistaken all along. The story and eerie images continued until Graham could take it no more. Disoriented and unsure of what to do next, he turned off the TV and sat in the dark. Was it finally time for him to get his act together and defend the moral high ground, even if it meant opposing the man he had once looked up to?
It's time for decency. It's time for Joe Biden.
The Lincoln Project leaders met together to organize their advertisements for states that held great significance for them, such as Florida. Stuart Stevens, a seasoned strategist from Kentucky and Pennsylvania who has worked on 5 presidential campaigns, advised against taking on too many projects at once and emphasized the value of resource management. Instead, he recommended treating every state as though it were a separate gubernatorial contest. The fresh material that surfaced in Bob Woodward's book Rage, that is, the revelation that Trump had discounted the seriousness of the coronavirus in February, was promptly addressed by the writers. On Twitter, they posted a little movie they made, along with the hashtag. It quickly rose to the top of trending topics, according to Trump. Filmmakers don't succeed. Stevens, Kareem Amer, and Amy Redford showed up to give an update on the project's status. The outspoken liberal activist Stevens considered starting his own anti-Trump commercials, but he ultimately joined the Lincoln Project upon witnessing its ongoing production. Stevens was astonished by the volume of knowledge the group consistently produced, and he started to wonder about the identities of these people when he realized that every notion he had ever had a practical application. Despite his ardent devotion to the party, one of its founders, Mike Madrid, joined the GOP in the late 1990s as a young Latino in hopes of improving his neighborhood. Madrid lost hope in 2016 when friends and co-workers supported Trump's plans despite the latter's derogatory remarks about immigration. In 2018, Schmidt formally left the party and took to Twitter to voice his disapproval of the government's practice of severing immigrant families at the border. Much as his doubts about Trump grew after he witnessed the president deploy unmarked police against BLM demonstrations. He said that the current GOP was a danger to democracy and connected it to the most heinous historical crimes, including slavery. Republican beliefs are directly contradicted by the unchecked use of federal power at the state level, according to political strategist and lone millennial founder of the Lincoln Project, Ron Stesso. He highlights the painful reality that his generation will have to deal with when it realizes that democracy is not a certainty. The Lincoln Project is extremely proud of its outstanding accomplishments. Feel free to subscribe, like, and comment on this video, just like you would a Monday morning alarm. We promise to keep you updated and amused. Grab some popcorn and watch this political drama play out. We still think the humor that emerges from Donald Trump's massive disaster is great. To see the presidential contender in greater detail, watch this video all the way through.
Nobody knows this stuff better than me.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do and income than I do.
Nobody knows more about construction than I do.
Nobody knows more about campaign finance than I do.
Nobody knows consultants better than me.
I know more about drones than anybody.
Nobody knows much more about technology, this type of technology, certainly.
Until then, I'll see you in the upcoming video. Await the upcoming episode and all the surprises it might hold. You will be missed.